How to use the PMI-PBA application worksheet. In order to qualify to even write the PMI-PBA exam, you will need to show that you have met the 35-hour business analysis training requirement. This course will provide you with the 35 contact hours to satisfy this requirement. You are also required to show that you have 60 months or 36 months of non-overlapping business analysis work experience, depending on whether you have a secondary or bachelor's degree or higher. This was a change that PMI made in June 2020 to all of their PMI applications to count months rather than hours of work experience. PMI compared this new way of entering your work experience to the way you would reflect your work experience on a resume. What this means is that if you worked on a project from January 2020 to April 2020, it would count as 4 months of business analysis work experience, regardless of how many of those hours were actually spent on business analysis work. I've prepared an application worksheet that you can use to organize your information prior to entering it into the online PMI application. Now that PMI has simplified the application process, you may feel that the worksheet isn't necessary. However, it may be helpful in situations where you don't plan on submitting the application right away, as the information is only saved in the system for 90 days. Or if you want to be able to organize your thoughts on paper to show your holistic business analysis experience between your various projects before tackling the real thing. Let's take a look at the sections of this worksheet before I go through and enter some sample data. The first column is the project name, then the organization that you worked for, your job title, functional reporting area, the industry in which you worked in, the approach or methodology that you used on that project, your business analysis experience description, and the start and end dates you spent working on that project. I've included a Gantt chart that will show you any overlapping work experience within the last 8 years, which is the limitation PMI has set on the work experience requirement. This Gantt chart is dynamic, in that it will always show the last 8 years. Each box in the Gantt chart represents 1 month of work experience. It is auto-populated based on the start and end dates you enter for each initiative. This field here is also auto-populated and will show you the total non-overlapping months you spent performing business analysis work. You'll notice in the worksheet there are fields that are white and some that are gray. The gray fields are calculated fields, so you don't need to enter any information in there. In fact, I've locked those cells so you cannot enter information in there. I'm going to go ahead and enter some sample data into this worksheet. The name of the initiative. Let's just say that I worked on ABC project at ABC Company. Note that your experience doesn't necessarily need to be paid work, but it does need to be in a professional setting. Activities such as school projects or planning personal events like a wedding or a home renovation would not qualify. Next, the application asks for your job title. The application will ask you to describe your role on the project within the business analysis experience field. The role you played on a project may be different than your title. For example, as a consultant, I've accepted roles within organizations where my title may be project manager, but sometimes they use me as a business analyst on certain projects. So here, I'd enter my job title. Let's just say that I was a business analyst. Then select the functional area that you reported to in the drop-down list. These drop-down options match those that are provided in PMI's online application. Select your organization's primary focus, or otherwise known as the industry. Next is the approach or methodology you used on that project. This is a new field on the application, and as of today, which is June 2020, I read over the updated handbook and didn't see anything that specified that Agile experience is required. However, if you have Agile or hybrid experience, I'd list it. Next is the business analysis experience description. Use 1 or 2 sentences to describe the project objective and outcome, another for your role in the project, which again could be different from your job title, and then spend the rest of the space describing your responsibilities and deliverables. In June 2020, PMI simplified the application process, where you no longer need to match your hours to PMI business analysis domains, but I would still encourage you to show that you have well-rounded business analysis experience within this field on the application. You don't need to have performed every process in the PMI Guide to Business Analysis on every project, but you should have well-rounded experience across all your listed projects. Try to use terminology aligned to the PMI Guide to Business Analysis to describe your work experience. Next, enter the start and end dates of the time you spent performing business analysis work on this project. I'm going to enter a start date of 2012, November 1st, and an end date of 2013, February 28. After entering the start and end dates, the worksheet will show you your work experience in the Gantt chart and calculate the number of non-overlapping months of business analysis work experience. The PMI application only asks for month and year when you enter the start and end dates, but I've specified that you enter the first of the month for start date and end of the month for end date, just so the Gantt chart could populate correctly. Let me show you what happens when you enter overlapping work experience. Notice the number of non-overlapping months did not increase as a result of adding those start and end dates. I'm going to enter a start date of 2013, January 1st for the third initiative, and an end date of 2013, December 31st. So you'll see the Gantt chart auto-populated again. And now notice the number of non-overlapping months increased by 10 months rather than 12, since the first 2 months overlapped with initiatives 1 and 2. Again, you need this number of non-overlapping months to be at least 36 if you have a bachelor's degree or higher, or at least 60 months if you do not. If you scroll all the way to the right past the Gantt chart, you'll find a couple of optional fields to list your contacts for each of these projects. When you submit your online application, the application will no longer ask for your contacts. Again, this was a change they made in June 2020. But if you were audited, PMI will ask for contacts to verify the information you submitted. I recommend preparing for the application as if you will be audited. So I've left space here if you'd like to make note of your contacts and have them ready should you be one of the lucky ones selected for an audit. This person should be able to vouch for your work and confirm the information you entered is accurate. This person doesn't have to be at the organization anymore, but PMI must be able to contact them. So I recommend that you contact your contacts to give them a heads up that you may need them as a reference. You can then continue with the next initiative. If you have overlapping projects, I still encourage you to list them, especially in cases where you weren't performing business analysis work for the whole project. The hours will not double count in the worksheet, nor the actual PMI-PBA online application. Let's take a look at the business analysis education section of this worksheet. Entering your business analysis education hours are pretty straightforward. You would enter the information that would be on your course completion certificate. I'll provide those details when you complete the course. But if you are using this course as your education component, you will not be able to submit your application until you've completed the course. This course will satisfy the 35 contact hours, and 100% of it is related to business analysis. After you've completed this application worksheet, you will be able to just copy and paste this information into the online PMI-PBA application.